Hello everyone, let's discuss the paper DAB-DETR Dynamic Anchor Boxes are particularly for DETR. When we talked about the transformer architecture is everywhere. DETR was the first paper that used transformer for object detection task. So we have the encoder to encode the image representation and for decoder which is responsible for predicting the bounding boxes and class label have learnable queries, and each query is responsible to predict one bounding box and correspondence label. DETR suffer from slow training convergence, and the role of the learnable query is not fully understood properly. Let's talk about the structure of the query in case of DETR decoder. The query consists of two parts. One is content part, which is decoder embedding, and second is positional query, which is learnable in case of DETR decoder, and it's a d-dimensional vector. The question arises, which module in the detection transformer is responsible for slow convergence? So let's compare the encoder of the data with decoder. If we look closer into the query structure, in case of encoder, the content part of query is coming from the image feature, and position information is coming from the positional embedding of the correspondence image patch. But in case of decoder, the content is decoder embedding, but the position information is learnable query that we're gonna learn throughout the training. So the position information is not encoded in decoder in the same way as we have done in case of encoder. When we try to visualize the learnable query in DETR, as we can see that this query have more concentration centers, but one query is responsible to detect one object. So queries are struggling to focus or to emphasize only one object in the image, and that's the reason for the slow convergence. If we somehow explicitly give some positional prior to our query, then we can stabilize the training. So idea is that we can use the anchor boxes as our query in case of detection transformer. So we're gonna use the anchor boxes as our query instead of d-dimensional vector, and then we can update them layer by layer. So here we have our anchor boxes, which is a center coordinate and then height and width, and then we gonna encode our anchor information into sinusoidal embeddings, and then we gonna concatenate them with our decoder embedding to pass it as a query to our transformer decoder. And at the output of each layer, we can apply an MLP to give the prediction of anchor boxes, and we already have our prior information. So from our prediction and using the prior information, we can define our anchor boxes, and we can pass the defined anchor boxes to our next layer to update the anchor boxes layer by layer. So let's see at the experiment results. As we can see here, the DETR took 500 epoch to get the mean average per CN of 42, but in case of that DETR, we achieved the mean average per CN of 42.6 only in 50 epoch, and these results are coming from the COCO 2017 validation set. So as a conclusion, we formulate the query as an anchor instead of d-dimensional vector, and we are updating them layer by layer. So they are acting as a soft ROI pooling, and with the help of results, we can say that formulating the query as a box really helps the detection transformer to converge in just 50 epochs as compared to the 100 epoch. Thank you so much for listening.